So there's a question in the chat box. Where is Mr. Amin from? They ask.
Oh, good, because I was looking for that. So I am based in France. I am originally from Algeria, but my mother tongue is German, and I work for a Swiss organization called IPMA. Just to make things simple.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Sorry, I had a technical problem, it seems, with my camera and my audio as well. So I just reverted to the other one. So I'm first of all, I'd like to apologize for you, my esteemed panelists, and for our audience for this technical problem. If something is going to happen, if a problem is going to happen 50-50 of the times, 9 out of 10 times they say it will. And it is happening in the last panel we have in this year. So I hope, yes, Dr. Askar had a problem in logging in, and Behice as well. Okay, Behice is back with us. Okay.
So Henry says Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Good evening.
But we are project managers. We find solutions, right?
Yes, but we take more time than the one allocated for the project. So first of all, allow me to welcome you, ladies first, starting with Behice. Behice is the board member of the IPYD, which is Istanbul Project Management Association. Welcome. We are happy that you are joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Saadi.
Okay. I think your voice is low. We can hear you, but it is a bit low.
Okay, let me increase. How is it now?
A little bit better. Okay.
Okay, I will put it to maximum.
Okay, please.
Yes.
Then I would like also to welcome Amin Saidoun. Amin is the Executive Director from IPMA, International Project Management Association. He's joining us from Switzerland tonight. Welcome, Amin.
Thank you very much, Saadi.
And not last and not least, my friend from Ankara, Mustafa Hafizoglu. He is the founder for the PMO Summit and an activist in the project management community at large. Welcome, Mustafa.
Thank you very much, Saadi. It's my pleasure to be here again.
Thank you. Now I will try to check the problem why Dr. Muhammad is not able to join yet. I believe Mustafa is in the background, Mustafa Al-Kurdi. He will be trying to get him on with us. So before we start even the questions, I'd like each one of you, please, to tell us a little bit about your kind selves and tell us a little bit about your organizations, because each one of you come from an esteemed organization. So we'd love to start again, ladies first. Gentlemen, if you can allow me to start with Behice. Is it right the way I'm pronouncing it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you can work on your voice, it seems the voice is low.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Behice. I am from Istanbul, Turkey. As Saadi has said, I am representing Istanbul Project Management Association tonight, and I am very happy to be part of this panel organized by Advisors Group. Let me introduce myself a little bit, what I have been doing. I am an industrial engineer, and now more than 20 years I have been practicing in software development industry, software project management mainly. I am working in telecommunications sector, and I am part of my non-government organization, Istanbul Project Management Association, for 20 years. Istanbul Project Management Organization have been founded for 23 years. And from the start of my own career, I have also started following Istanbul Project Management. And for the last 7 years now, I am part of its management organization. And I was the president for 2 years in 2014-15. And since its foundation, Istanbul Project Management Association is busy gathering professionals from the different sectors, mainly financial sector, telecommunication sector, but also, nonetheless, the construction society, project managers from all these groups in order to exchange ideas, new learnings, so that we can carry the important knowledge towards future to build better projects. In my career in the telecommunications sector, I am also very much related with project management profession. Lately, I have also started working on data governance transformation in our organization, but in that as well, we are following project management guidelines. Actually, it is a reference point for any endeavor you are taking in your career, in your life. I hope I was able to explain a little bit about myself. Thank you.
I think we lost Saadi.
You are muted, I think, Saadi.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Behice. And I believe we will benefit tonight from your insights with us. Amin, can you tell us, thank you. Can you tell us, please, a little bit about yourself and about IPMA at large?
Yes. Can you hear me well now?
We can hear you well.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Amin Saidoun. As I said, I'm German-Algerian, working in a Swiss organization and living in France near the Swiss border. And my background is economics. I started in consulting and auditing. Then I worked for the large multinational organization called DHL around the world, and working also in research. And since 8 years, I am working now as executive director of IPMA. So I've always been working in the 50% of my 30 years of experience in the line and 50% in the project management arena. So I'm a level C certified project manager according to the 4LC certification level that you know. Welcome, Askar. I just see that you are there.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
IPMA is, you see the map behind us. I always have that because I think all of our member association in 72 countries, and it's the first project management association or federation of association in the world, which was started in 1965. And the objective is to promote competences in project management in society, so in all sectors, to enable all projects to succeed, right? That's the vision. And the benefits offered are the development of the profession, right? Like any liberal profession, architects, public accountants, or let's say doctors, through standards. And it's very important there to certify the people, the projects, and the organizations, because organizational competence, maybe we will address that later, is also very critical. And all this is supported by an ecosystem of trainers, coaches, and consultants. That's the purpose of IPMA. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. I believe IPMA is a very renowned organization, although not found in all countries, but wherever it is found, it has the capability of getting around some of the top minds and authorities in project management, whether in research or in practice.
We are learning a lot still, and there are, exactly like Saadi said, some regions where we need to be more present. Originally, we are from Europe, but we're growing strongly in Asia and Latin America. And we hope also to address some parts of the world where we are not yet present. It's important to gather and get commitment and engagement from the project managers in these countries. Yes, Saadi, correct.
Okay, welcome. So Dr. Mohammad Askar, thank you for joining us, and sorry for any technical problems. I also had technical problems tonight. So I'd like to welcome you from Kuwait Project Management Society. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about KPMS, please?
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm glad to be with a group of experts in this event. My name is Mohammad Askar Saoud. I am the current president for Kuwait Project Management Society, and I am an assistant professor in the Department of Operations Management in the College of Business Administration in Kuwait University. So KPMS is the first and only Kuwaiti official NGO specialized in project management, and it was established in October 2017. In summary, our mission is to advance the practice, the science, the profession of project management in Kuwait in a proactive manner. And our goals also, in short, are to support the members and organizations meet their educational and networking goals, and to help organizations by promoting project management best practices. So that's about KPMS.
Excellent. Thank you, my dear. And back to Mustafa. Can you tell us, Mustafa, a little bit about yourself and about the PMO Summit?
Sure. This is Mustafa Hafizoglu. I have also over 20 years experience, especially on electronics, communication, and defense industry. I have different hats as teaching project management at universities. I'm an author, volunteer at PMI and PMI Turkey chapter. I'm also past president of PMI Turkey chapter. And also, I'm program director at STT Space and Defense Technologies and Research and Development Company. Tonight, I'd like to contribute this panel from my initiation for PMO. PMO Summit is was started in 2019 to gather PMO leaders to share knowledge and help PMOs create value for their organizations. And throughout 2020, we had various online events and trainings for them. So PMO Summit is now online, and we are presenting lots of things.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So to start our discussion, I'd like to initiate a poll. And in this poll, okay, this is the first poll. So our audience can, it's on now. You can elect to answer, please. It's about taking a positive perspective. You can look at the empty half or at the full half. So looking back at 2020, I'd like our audience to tell us whether the challenges made them stronger. We hope so. Whether 2020 did not affect them, they are almost the same, or whether they learned a lot, but they feel they were stronger before 2020. So it's almost stabilizing. Let me give it a bit. And we'll discuss it, okay? Wow, 82% of our audience, okay? And we have an audience of 150 persons now with us from various countries in the world. And they believe that 2020 challenges made them stronger. Good, keep on this. High morale. And very few were not affected or were affected negatively. So to get us to our first point, first round for our panelists, I would like each one of you, please, to tell us, to share with us. We're not going to speak tonight about the problems. We've been speaking about problems for the past year, okay? And it's important to address our problems so that we can attempt to solve them. But right now, I'd like each one of you kindly to reflect on something positive, the best thing you can think of that occurred in 2020, where your organization made a significant contribution. And for this point, allow me to start with Amin, please.
Thank you for this very interesting question, Saadi, because this is really something that is really interesting to look at, because on the one hand side, yes, 2020 is still a very particular year, because tomorrow is another day, at least in our calendar. And initially, you know, IPMA has, like many organizations, its large conference that took place normally once a year, face-to-face. And the context, pandemic context, the reduction of flying possibilities and meeting possibilities, the lockdowns, etc., triggered us to organize the first thing we ever did in our history of over 50 years. It's to organize IPMA Global Best Practice Week in October 2020. We did not expect the success of that event, with over 80 speakers from all over the world, project managers, case studies, sharing experiences in 3 different streams, in program, project, and portfolio management in different sectors. I had the pleasure to moderate 2.5 days. And so the event had such a success, both in terms of number of attendees and in terms of content, that we have now already planned the second version, which will take place from the 26th to the 29th of April 2021. And we have decided to focus the topic on resilience. Of course, resilience can be seen from different facets, but this is about resilience as an individual, at a project, at an organization, and at societal level, how through IPMA product and services and mindset we can address the whole context. This is really the best thing that could have happened in this year.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm proud because I was one of the speakers with IPMA within the conference. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, Behice, can you tell us about one thing in 2020 that IPYD thought you did very well at?
Yes, thank you for this interesting question. Actually, I have been thinking about it for a while now, and my topic will be similar to Amin, because since its foundation in 1997, so over 23 years now, IPYD has always established an annual conference. If you recall, Dynamics Project Management Conference in our society in Istanbul. And Saadi, you were one of the presenters again several years back. You have been in Istanbul we were very happy to address you here in our Dynamics conference. So this year in 2020, at the very beginning, we started similar to previous years. We are always holding the event with project management practices. So we were still following the similar practices for 2020. However, as time advanced, we have come to realization that it will not be the same as the previous years. Mainly in face-to-face presentations in conference rooms, no, this would not happen. So we had to turn our direction in a quick analysis and synthesis, and we decided to not give up our conference, but we decided to make it online, similar to IPMA. We had our standard speakers, and we had our standard attendees, not as big as IPMA, but regarding our society here in Istanbul and in Turkey, we had a very good success in presenting our topics and sharing the knowledge, especially the practice, the experience gained in 2020 from our speakers. So it was beneficial for our attendees to hear about similar problems they are facing in project management practices within this year. This is the best thing I can recall for my organization in 2020.
Thank you.
And we are also continuing with 2021, and we'll hold Dynamics Project Management Conference most probably in similar ways that we have learned in 2020 online.
Excellent. So it seems that both IPMA and IPYD turned this problem into an opportunity because people are at home, they do not move around a lot, and using the proper digitalization or connection tools like Webinar Jam or others, you were able to continue serving your members and serving your society, which is amazing. And this gets me to Dr. Muhammad Askar from KPMS. I'm also very proud because allow me to say it, people know about this in 2020. One of the best things that we had in advisors is becoming also partner with KPMS. So can you tell us about one of the best things that happened in 2020?
Yes, one of the best things is definitely having the partnership with you, and we've had a very successful event.
Thank you.
Everybody is very happy in KPMS. But I might try to shift and try not to repeat the experiences that Mr. Amin and Ms. Behja has had with their organization. So I think, yes, getting in touch with the base of KPMS, I mean the members, was easier, or let's say easier for the member side to join the events and interact with us. So that was very positive. But if you allow me, I'll try to go a couple of steps back in the start of COVID-19. The pandemic officially hit Kuwait officially in February 24th. And guess what? In February 25th and February 26th, we have the largest national annual celebration in Kuwait. These 2 days are the days of the independence of Kuwait, and the 26th is the day of liberation of Kuwait. So just imagine how tough that was and how many difficult decisions were taken. Everything was ready for the ceremonies, and exactly on February 24th, the decision was made, and also the pandemic officially was announced. So that's one aspect to the pandemic in Kuwait. The other thing for the achievement, if you allow me, I would like to talk about Kuwait University. So simultaneously, the spring semester was suspended. And it took a while until we resumed the spring semester. And let me tell you a little bit about the background. When the pandemic hit Kuwait, one of the first losses in my college was one of my dear colleagues who continued to go on campus to work there, and due to COVID-19, he passed away. However, the spirit was still there that we really need to work hard to make it happen, even if it is distance learning. And thank God, everybody worked hard, everybody have cooperated. And what I'm proud about Kuwait University is the following. When we started trying to recover from COVID-19 and resume the study, in Kuwait University, for example, it's true every student has an official email, but for some reason it was not activated by the students and we didn't use it. So reaching out to the students, training the staff, training the students was not an easy task, but Alhamdulillah, we achieved that, and Kuwait University was the model for the other educational organizations in Kuwait.
Excellent. Thank you, my dear. And back to Mustafa. Mustafa, tell us one thing that happened which was very good and very interesting for the community you work with.
Yes, Saadi. As my colleagues mentioned, the change is very difficult. And very few of us really can start change or support change willingly. But most challenge mostly force us to change. So these are the times that force us to change. And 2020 actually has tested our adaptability and flexibility as both individuals and organizations. And our PMO Summit, similar to my colleagues, had the transition from face-to-face to online. But we have seen that we reached more people around the world, more PMO leaders. And we lasted the duration of the PMO Summit to 3 months, and we covered lots of topics and reached lots of people, lots of professionals. So that was the advantage side of this pandemic. And the best thing that occurred in 2020 is, in summary, we have strengthened our adaptability muscles and have been more creative and innovative because we should.
Excellent. Now, before I go to the second topic, allow me to just say a couple of points. The best thing that occurred to us as an organization, advisors in 2020, is the webinar series that we did, which got us to be together tonight. And Mustafa did and the team some statistics, and wow, we have over 11,000 participants during the first webinar we did in April until tonight. So this would have never, ever occurred if we were working on the face-to-face aspect. So I believe, as you all, we conclude together, it's about resilience. It's about the power to fight back, the will to live and to sustain, despite the challenges and despite the losses. So let me go to the first actually point we are discussing now. But before that, allow me to initiate a poll for our audience to participate with us before we speak about the start with the discussion. And the poll is about the sponsor or leader in 2020. So our leaders, I believe the poll is on and people are responding. So our leaders, okay. Our leaders outperformed themselves in getting our organization to safety through the pandemic. This is the best case. The second one, our managers did what they can, and we are somewhat affected. And number three, our bosses saved themselves, and we found ourselves abandoned, just like the movie. So let us have a look at the polls while they are stabilizing. Then we will reinitiate our discussion. So I believe they are okay now. Okay. So 46% have amazing leaders who actually saved the organization and the people in it. And the most important thing is the people in the organization, because everything else we can make up for, but not our people. And 34% in the middle, they were affected and their managers did their best, but 18% they have bosses that this requires some work. And this gets us to the second round about project sponsoring and leadership in the pandemic recovery. Should focus on which challenges, traits, competencies, best practices, and disciplines. So let me start now for this one with Mustafa.
Yes, Saadi. These are the times that leaders should focus.
Just one thing, sorry, Mustafa, to interrupt you. Let us stick each one of us to maximum of 3 minutes for each question so that we can finish all within the 90 minutes allocated for our panel tonight, okay?
Okay.
And if there are some questions by the audience, we will be taking questions after each topic. So our topic now is about the sponsor and the leader. So if we receive some questions after all of us speak and give our insights, I'm gonna allow a couple of questions to answer them. And our audience, please feel free to address the question in general or to any specific panelist. Sorry to interrupt you, Mustafa.
Not important, okay, thank you. As I mentioned, these are the times that leaders should focus even more on people, because the whole change around us affects the employees and stakeholders, both socially and psychologically. And so we are social animals, and there are lots of difficulties and challenges at our working spaces in the new normal. We are away from our offices, also away from our social relationships. So I see lots of companies around us applying the same principles and rules as if they are working at their offices. But now it is different. We have a new normal. So leaders should also change these norms and actually shift to a new culture other than the previous culture in order to cope with these changes. So the first thing that leaders should do in the coming days or weeks, they should focus on a cultural shift so that they can design a new norm for their working environment, working framework. May I give a quick example from Turkey as well? In Turkey, employees should work at least 8 hours a day. So as most of the people switched to working at home, the same principles were expected from the companies, from the sponsors, that they were trying to measure whether their people are working 8 hours a day at their home. So this did not work. This was an example of how we should switch from the old things to the new normal. So leaders should focus on people by really trying to change their culture that could adapt to the new norm.
Okay, very good point. So you're focusing on the leader and the cultural aspect, okay? And you gave an example with respect to the working conditions. You cannot just tell somebody to work 8 consecutive hours at home because maybe his children are over his back or something, okay? Or his wife starts to ask for certain things. It does not just work exactly in the same manner as if you are in the office. There are challenges. So, and you're talking about Turkey. Now, Turkey is one country, but Istanbul may be different than Ankara. So, Behice, what do you think about what Mustafa said, and what insights do you have with respect to the leader and the sponsor? What do we need from the leader or the sponsor in 2021?
Yes, thank you, Saadi. Actually, I couldn't agree more with Mustafa. It is very similar in Istanbul, like in Ankara. Human is in the center of anything, any effort companies are doing, we are doing. So we should put human in the very center for sure. This we already knew beforehand, but the practices in 2020 has proved this fact true more than ever. And yet there is another fact we should all be aware of. That is the fact that there is one constant, and it is the change. Change is the one constant that is present always. So we have to adapt. 2022 has made us stronger in adaptation. In order to cope with this and to further move on in better practices for 2021 and beyond, I think leaders should consider human in mind and to best equip them with learning abilities in order to cope with this changing environment. So to solve new problems in better ways. So learning is a crucial element in this keeping up with the changing environment. I think leaders should put more emphasis for their human capital in learning practices. However, learning by itself is not enough and will not be enough. It should be executed. So there should be some room for executing the learnings. And in that, we come to the point that the office environment is different than the home environment. As just Mustafa had said, you cannot expect the same performance practices at home. There are other individuals, the environment, the setting is different. In the office, everything is designed for best working conditions. However, at home, it is not. So I think leaders should let their human capital have potential for learning, and also should consider human are at home and they need to face their challenges at home while they are executing their work. While doing that, they should consider the learnings, the new learnings for the new environment, and come up with their own solutions. I should also mention the fact that when you consider people, when you put people in their own pace of working, in their own practices, their own plans to achieve their goals, they really do amazing work because they know the best in how to do their work. Actually, this is one of the principles of agility, as we all may recall. So letting people find their own solutions with the new learnings that the sponsors are feeding them with, I think good results will come, and it will be a learning for all other teams as well.
So excellent point, Behice. Thank you very much. So you are focusing now on the capability of the sponsor or the leader to empower his people and give them some room and some liberty to discover where they can do better. But for this, the sponsor has to change. He cannot be the old guy who used to get people to tick in and out and put cameras on their tops, or supervisors to see how many mouse clicks they did or when they like scratch their heads. There should be some changes here. So Dr. Muhammad, what do you think about this leader? Is he capable? What's your insight? Are our managers and leaders capable to change the culture, change themselves, allow the room not only for learning, but for practice and for room to breathe and for the people to get us the best they can, their own way? Your sound is muted. Dr. Muhammad, your sound is sound.
Okay.
Now,
how is it now?
Now better.
Yeah.
Yes. So as you might imagine, if we talk about changing human culture, then it's the most difficult change. So if you are an engineer and treat engines or mechanical stuff, then change is easy. But I remember the dean of our school in Purdue, he was specializing in behavioral organization or organizational behavior. So one of the faculty members was making a joke. So he said, finally, we found the right person to manage our problems and our conflict problems and office politics. So culture is the most difficult, as you might imagine. Other than cultural change, if you allow me to change the topic, I would say clearly sponsors and leaders need to adopt quality IT systems. For our case, for example, in Kuwait, retailers and many companies were stunned, especially at the time of lockdown, when the government didn't allow anybody to sell anything unless it is online. So, and now we are hearing about COVID-20, and we are all anxiously waiting for the news about what kind of virus it is. Another topic is that I would encourage sponsors or leaders is always seeking and building relationships with alternative suppliers and alternative logistics service providers. And in this way, you can create what's called portfolio of supply chains around you to mitigate the risk. The third thing, which also takes courage in addition to the culture change, is reevaluating the portfolio of projects, reevaluating the criteria that you are using at this difficult time, which is sensitive for probably many of the sponsors or leaders in the organization. So that's what I would say.
Excellent point. So you're talking about reviewing their efficiency under the new conditions, while also focusing on business continuity. And you gave an example of the supply chain, so that they don't find themselves or their organizations like cornered in a place they cannot move on. This is a very important point, and we'll go next in the next round. We're going to speak more about portfolio management and other organizational solutions. And this gets us to you, Amin. What do you think the situation of the sponsor? What does IPMA have for us to get our sponsors and leaders to become better? Because we always see people doing project management who are technical and people who are middle managers. But when it comes to senior people or people in high positions, very few of them go and learn what the rest of us spend a lot of time on. And this makes like there is a certain gap. Now, I do not want my CEO or my director or board of directors to learn technical project management. I would love them to learn sponsoring, how to support project management, how to get the organization into safety under these conditions. So what can you give us in this perspective, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. A lot was said, and I think if we look at IPMA's approach to their competence, its competence-based model, I picked up 3 important competences that I think that are both valuable or valid for the project, the sponsor, and the leader here. Sometimes the leadership comes from the sponsor, actually. First one is what was already mentioned by my predecessors, culture and values, which is a perspective competence, right? So this is the individual's approach to influence on the organization's culture and values and the wider society in which the program or project, as Mohammad was mentioning, is situated, no matter whether it's in the logistics side or it is more on something more at the macro level. So an example is if you practice advocacy and partnership, right? And you were talking about the successful partnership between advisors and KPMS. That is something also a strategic priority of IPMA. But if you don't know the people and they have no clue about the culture of an organization, a setting in which it operates, then the cooperation will not be sustainable or the partnership on the longer run. So this is very important. So to build trust and move forward. So that was the first competence element, insisting on understanding culture and values, and culture cannot be changed from one day to the other, but it needs, of course, a time and dedication from the top. The second point is a resourcefulness. This means that people, the ability to apply various techniques and ways of thinking and defining and analyzing and prioritizing, finding alternatives, right? So we have no face-to-face meetings, we are meeting online, but we are also digitizing our processes, we have new tools, and we also now are able to address new target audiences we never thought we would reach before. So this is the resourcefulness that we need to insist and try to get out of each of our colleagues so that they can also self-organize. And as you just said, Saadi, there is no need to have this control, this overall, let's say, monitoring, because this can create some fears. The second and the third one is the personal communication. I think both the leaders and the sponsors are more and more nowadays challenged as the people are not meeting face to face by the mastering of the personal communication. And you know, many people say communication, 70% is nonverbal. So when do I use an email? When do I use a WhatsApp? When do I use a call? It's very important that you can prioritize between all the different means of communications we have nowadays, which we didn't have 10 or 20 years ago, that you master also this personal communication so that you can build this trust, encourage people to face their challenges. So this is the 3 points I wanted to make to this very, very interesting questions. Sorry, I have only 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I believe each question or round requires in itself a separate panel because they are large. But I'll take one question here from Ihab. He has a question and an insight. He says adaptation, flexibility, resilience, and change all are good terms. How do you implement them practically? Does it work for all industries? And he continues to say smart leaders should not worry about time spent to get milestones, KPIs. They should focus on getting them done. Each individual is different in execution. Like anything else, change and quality starts with leadership. If the head is rotten, the rest is history. So about his question, any of you would like to volunteer? Does it work for all industries? How do you implement it practically? Adaptation, flexibility, resilience, and change. But in a quick manner, please. Who would like to answer? Amin, please do.
Yeah, we are all talking about people, and people are in every industry. So it's really valid in any industry because it's about the mindset and the approach people have. And this is why the president's question was very important about leadership and sponsorship. So yes, the answer is yes, any industry.
Yeah. Excellent. So we can talk a lot about each topic, but let me get to the third point, please. I'm gonna start with a poll. Let me put it on. So the third poll, it's about the most important topic for 2021. And we're talking about organizational topics, the strategy realization, portfolio management, benefits management, organizational agility, integration and collaboration, digitalization, and knowledge management. And there is a paradox here because they are all correct. They are all important. We need all of them, I believe, at least myself. But this platform allows us only to select one. This is why I asked our audience to select the top one from their perspective. And we're seeing the results. They are still keying in their choices. So afterwards, after they put their selections, I'm going to ask our dear panelists what is the prospect in 2021 for strategy realization, portfolio management, benefits management, integration and collaboration, organizational agility, digitalization, and knowledge management. And of course, not each one of us is going to address all 7 or 8 points. Each one of us can address 1 or 2 in 3 minutes, please. And maybe you can address even another topic. It is not a problem. So let me go back here and look at the poll result. And the poll, so strategy realization 26%. So this comes at number 1. I believe my friend Antonio Nieto Rodriguez will be very happy because he established the strategy implementation institute. And by the way, I'm proud, and also Mustafa Hafizoglu are both strategy implementation professionals. So this is important. The second one is digitalization by our audience, 24%. Then the third one is organizational agility. Who can afford not to have it? And then we have integration and collaboration, benefits management, then portfolio management, and last, knowledge management. So in this round, let us start with Behice, please. Can you get us your insight on 1 or 2 or more, or even something else? You are completely free to give us whatever insight you think of in terms of these organizational frameworks or perspectives.
Thank you, Saadi. I will go for digitalization and the organizational agility in the first place. Because for the near future, let's say 2021 and maybe 2022, we first need to adapt to this new way of doing work, mobile from home, new way of doing work. And for that to happen, we need now new settings, which in the foundation needs this digitalization. If we cannot have online settings, we cannot even make one step forward. So we need the foundations in the very first place. And this digitalization is, of course, around for the several years back. It is not very new. However, we need to excel in this digitalization and digitalized environment so that we can make best use of this kind of environment for our targets and for our work. The second thing, not the second, they are both hand in hand. Digitalization as the foundation for our work, and organizational agility is how are we going to do our work in this new digitalized environment. Organizational agility in itself emphasizes and owns the adaptation for change. Agility in itself is adaptation for change. And of course, it already puts its foundations back in even classical project management. Because in project management, you have to organize resources to reach your targets. In organizational agility, you need to consider project management principles, however, in a slightly different manner, so that the individuals participating in the organization has their own voices, has their own contribution in the efforts being done, so that experts are more easily coming forward to put their values in all those efforts. So I would first emphasize digitalization and organizational agility. Organizational agility needs to be practiced in order to excel in that and in order to change our way of doing work. Of course, on top of these, we need to have a strategy. If we have no strategy, then other than near future, we cannot expect our targets to happen. So I will also add the strategy point of view in the near future efforts, activities of digitalization and the organizational agility. Altogether, I propose and I believe will make us move further on.
Excellent points, Behice. I cannot agree more. But actually, whatever any one of us will answer, it will include probably all. Why? Because what you just said is about integrating them. So integration and collaboration is key, for example, and so on. But I'm going to leave room because Dr. Muhammad Askar is smiling. Okay, I see something in he wants to say. If you can share without your insights, please.
Absolutely. I think it's difficult to prioritize, but if I have to, again, I would go like Ms. Behice for digital.
I think we lost him.
Yes, I think he has a problem. And the problem actually is in digitalization. The things we cannot control.
So we need to go for digitalization first.
Yes. You have to give us a larger bandwidth, especially you are working in telco. So until Dr. Muhammad Askar is capable of joining us, Mustafa, Dr. Askar, are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, please.
Yes, I don't know what happened. So
no problem.
Okay. So I was smiling because, of course, for example, when I talk about portfolio management or even agility, strategy implementation is, of course, a major, not only component, it's the major frame for this to happen. So I would talk about a trend for portfolio management. That's what my feeling. From my recent experience, for example, in Kuwait, I've been honored to be part of a committee for evaluating mega projects and major projects for 2021 on the government level, and it was remarkable how professionals are really emphasizing portfolio management, the method of evaluating these projects. And not only that, even that was reflected on the level of ministries. So all ministries was delivering their business cases and proposals with the extra rigor, which is a sign that we are going more and more. In addition to digitalization, the focus on managing the portfolio of projects. We have limited resources in 2021. All countries and the world is suffering, so we have to be very efficient in running these projects.
This is great because they say portfolio management is doing the right things. whereas project management is doing things right. So right now, doing the right things is very essential for survival and for recovering after the pandemic. Hopefully, the second pandemic would be very tiny, very small, and does not spread as much as the first one. But even if it was that much critical, I believe, inshallah, we have better morale and better preparation, okay? Because we are in the fighting mode, okay? We did not surrender to the first one, so we're not gonna let the second one kick us off, inshallah. Excellent point. So, Amin, what can you tell us? What are your insights here on these topics?
Yes, it's very interesting talk first about what I like to focus on the strategy realization, because that's, I think, also what the audience scored the most, or let's say the very important in terms of percentage. So, example, IPMA has 4 pillars, right? Membership development, advocacy and partnership, digitization, sustainable and financial healthy organization. So a house can only work well if the pillars have more or less the same size, not more or less, but they should have the same size, avoiding that one pillar is longer than the other. So this means when you need to address the strategy realization of these 4 pillars, a good operation management, a good portfolio management, and be agile in a VUCA context, right? So if you invest too much, for example, in digitization, you might pay a lot of money, but you will jeopardize the financial health of the organization. Then you will have to lay off people or balance your loss. And this is not the role of an organization. Profitable, yes, but also keeping in mind its role in society as an employer, or also looking at purpose, not only at short-term financial gains, right? So that's regarding the strategy realization. Regarding digitization, yes, it's in everybody's mouths and also ears. So this is actually the use to change the business models we have been maybe working for many years and producing new value opportunities. And it's, let's say, the process to move to a digital business. So what has IPMA done, for example, because we are not able to have face-to-face certification rounds, we digitalize our processes. So that, for example, if a person in a large country like, let's say, Russia, they had a customer in Vladivostok, but the main, let's say, certification body is in in Moscow, they were able to certify online with the proctoring tool, etc., which they never developed or thought about developing in the past. And also what we also developed is an international question database. For example, to prepare the exams, we are sharing now digitally all our questions. They need to be adapted for the various contexts of the countries. But in the past, everybody was more or less working in his own silo, developing his own questions. And that's something that is really very important to put in place and save both the costs and make people more accessible to both knowledge, as Behice was mentioning earlier, and of course, a proof of knowledge through our certification model.
Very good. Now, Mustafa, why it happens that you are the last person to answer every question? Is it me? So let me ask you about managing benefits, since you were one of the contributors to the standard by PMI. Is this something that you believe will be of interest and focus together with knowledge management? These are the things I'm selecting, the things that did not get a lot of contribution. These 2 things, plus your other insights in 2021.
Actually, you can guess my topics for 2021. Strategy realization and benefits management are my rising stars for the near future. Let me start with the benefit realization, as you asked. It will be a major concern for organizations, and I believe project success definition will go beyond cost, scope, and schedule. And benefit will be introduced as a project success criteria. So that will be the major shift, in my opinion, for the coming days. A few weeks ago, I made a presentation in projectmanagement.com of PMI, and the topic was redefining project success with benefit. And it is now recorded, so if people are interested in this definition of the project success, they can just watch from that. So benefit realization, because we have scarce resources, as my colleagues mentioned. So we don't have really time to just spend those resources without matching them or assigning them to a benefit. So every effort we take should be related with a benefit, with a value, which will make us reach to our strategic goals and vision. So that's why benefit realization should be a part of our life in the near future. And some words from related with the strategy realization. As you mentioned, I have received my strategy implementation professional from Strategy Implementation Institute. And I have seen some statistics when I was working for the that certificate. And about almost 70 to 90% of the strategies were not implemented in the last 10 years. So that's a catastrophic case. That's a huge waste of time. So this is not sustainable for the organizations. So even if organizations and leaders have very successful visions and strategic goals, if the organization does not have the capability of implementing those strategies, they will fail. So in my opinion, strategy implementation, strategy realization, and the benefits realization management will be the rising stars.
Okay, actually they are my selection as well. Just yesterday, I'd like to announce, I did not even tell anybody, I got my certification from APMG, the Managing Benefits Practitioner. And thank you. Thank you. And I'm preparing very soon to become a certified trainer on managing benefits as well. And what I discovered from entering into this realm, I did practice it a lot before under program management. Because programs are set to realize benefits primarily, is one very important thing. How much it is tied to portfolio management. You cannot do each one alone. They work back to back. But this is also another topic to speak about later on. Now let's get to the third point, because we are late on our time. And we'll try to work on quickly on the rest of the last 2 points. And poll number 4, I'm gonna start with our audience. Poll number 4 is about the project manager for 2021. And I like to ask our esteemed participants to tell us their opinion. Number 1, we need more project managers. Same thing as before, maybe we need more of them. Number 2, no, we do not need more project managers of the ones we have. We need a new breed of project managers. And number 3, we need to find jobs for our current project managers who lost their jobs or are jobless. So 3 choices to select from. And while our audience is answering this question, the question addressed to you is, will the need for project managers increase in 2021? And if yes, what are the needed competencies? But I need to insist, please answer in 2 minutes, okay, so that we can have time for our last round. And for this one, allow me to start, let me just Okay. This time I'm gonna start with you, Mustafa, so you do not blame me later on. Okay?
I will not.
Okay.
So I see the results of the poll actually, and half of the attendees say that we need a new breed of PMs. So I agree actually. We need more PMs, but the definition of PM will not be the same as we talked today. So I call it not project managers, but project leaders. Because in the near future, especially, leadership skills will be mostly demanded competency for PMs. When we say leadership, it's a broader terminology. So may I just break down it into simpler terms so that we can understand it well. I mean communication skills, because project leaders should engage both team and the stakeholders. Even the role is getting larger and virtual, so we need that more, and this is more challenging. Project leaders should have emotional intelligence, and they have to increase their adaptability and flexibility skills, as we know now that it is really critical in these challenging times. And finally, creativity and complex problem solving also should be gaining importance, because projects are getting more complex and we need to find quick solutions in that complex environment. So these are the basic skills I believe we should be gaining as for future project managers, as I call project leaders.
طيب, I have this question for Amin, based on what Mustafa is sharing with us. He's saying we need more of a leader project manager, problem solving and whatnot. But if the project manager is becoming the leader, then who is the leader of the organization, or who is the sponsor? So are we trying to get every project manager to become a sponsor or a director? Then who will do the technical work?
Yeah, that's very good. You know, a wise man who told me before I joined IPMA, he said, we all agree on one particular thing. Project managers do not grow on trees. And this means that, of course, you have to, let's say, in an ideal case, both the sponsor and the leader has a basic knowledge of project management, and that like in the army, he started as a soldier, then he became a lieutenant, and then he one day was a general. But sometimes you don't have this ideal context. So what I want to pick up on what Mustafa said, yes, I fully agree. I called it earlier resourcefulness. You talked about creativity and thinking. I think it's important that we focus on three things to answer this question. One is continuous professional development. So this means that thanks to that, you get a new breath, because it's like a doctor. If a doctor has his exam, you know, after some years, the knowledge is changing, the technologies are changing. So he needs the project manager to grow with his time and get trained on a permanent basis. Continuous professional development. The second point is teamwork. We all know, and we can only repeat it, that even at the sponsor level, if, let's say, he does not work, or she in a team, let's say at having leader-leader exchange, if we talk about leadership, then it is very difficult to move forward and to be successful on your own. So that's the second point. And the third point, I think, is very critical. It was also already mentioned indirectly. It's a practice competence. It's about stakeholder management. You can be as resourceful as you have. You can have the best budgets that you have. If you don't manage the interests and the different sensitivities, especially as projects become more complex, you will have difficulties to get your project come through. So stakeholder management is something I picked up under that question.
Okay, I'm happy that you raised stakeholder management. It's a very interesting topic. I used to teach it a lot, like 10 years back, to lots of cohorts. We had a diploma program with the university, and the first thing they had to learn after applied project management is stakeholder management. I believe people who know how to speak and communicate properly can almost succeed in almost anything. Even if they are not that much technically good, they will find a way. After all, somebody who likes you who almost always will say yes. Okay, I agree. So it's important to have this network of people who you are good with. So here, let me ask this question to Behice, please. What do you think about the next project manager who will help us in 2021? What should she or he be? Because we cannot say always he. There are a lot of female project managers who are very well experienced and can do a lot.
Yes, thank you, Saadi. In the very first place, I need to say that there will be a need for project managers all the time. Even though everything is changing all the time, we have been talking about there is one thing constant, which is change. And we have lived through 2020, and we have seen that adaptation is very important. So whatever it is changing, there will always be a need for project managers, in the sense that project managers have the ability to get people together to achieve the goals. Actually, this is a definition for a leader as well. However, in this leadership, I need to mention that it is not necessarily the organizations as a whole leadership, which would include also leadership for the strategy, but project managers' leadership is more in the sense of the people management side of the case. Being a leader for the people who are in a team to execute their projects. So in the much more project level way, the project managers need to become leaders who are capable of understanding their team, the people, who are capable of understanding the culture and their organizations strategies, so that they can direct their teams, their people, in the very same direction of the organization's needs. Also, these leaders would be just the correct ones to make room for their people in their team, where the people can put their values in the efforts. As I have mentioned, and we have been discussing organizational agility, where people are capable of putting their own contributions more in the efforts. So project managers need to make room for these people who have their pockets full of new ideas, new way of doing things done. That is why I need to say that new project managers, a new breed of project managers, need to understand that they have to collaborate with their team more in order to make their team more fruitful and effective.
Excellent point. I remember there was a research done, Professor Rodney Turner. He was the previous International Journal of Project Manager editor for 25 years. And he once was talking in a lecture about somebody did the success factors of a project, a research on it. And many people thought maybe doing planning properly, proper sponsorship, executive, and so on. And the answer came out, a happy team. Wherever you have a happy team, they will find ways for your project to succeed, because every project has challenges. No plan will be implemented as written ever, okay? Change is inevitable. We have to be agile. We have to be autonomous. And if we are agile and autonomous and our people are given the opportunity to do their best, they will do their best and they will astonish top management. And maybe this is one of the most important roles of this project manager, to enhance collaboration and actually to build a team that trusts each other and give us our best. Like Jack Ma, I always like to repeat his statement. I don't bring good people or the top people to tell them what to do. I bring them on to tell me what to do. Okay, this is how you bring a large and big and sustainable organization. So last and not least, Dr. Mohammad Askar, tell us please about the project manager in 2021 as quickly as we can to start with the last point.
Yeah, so returning to the same poll, whether we need a new breed or whether we need more project managers, I would say yes. I believe we need more project managers with the new skills. Maybe they should apply for the benefits management certificate, as you did, to improve their skills.
Okay.
But yeah, what I would say during such difficult times and such massive disruption of normal life, we really need to make change in our organizations. And by definition, when we define operations, we say they are routine work. And when we say project, it's a one-time work to accomplish some change. Or I am trying to rephrase it. So I believe everybody agrees the main tool to make changes in our organizations are projects. So yes, I believe we need more project managers with the skills that we need in 2021.
Thank you very much. Now to the last point. I'm gonna start the last poll and show you the last poll so that we can move on. Now, the last poll and topic is about expectations for 2021. And the poll is on, so you can answer. Number one, situation can get much better in 2020. This is a hunch, what each one of our esteemed audience and esteemed panelists think. Number two, extension of 2020. It will be better at the end of 2021. And number three, very pessimistic, 2021 might be even worse than 2020. And while stabilizing until we have everybody answered, the question to our panelists, what do you expect or we expect in 2021? Perhaps from the perspective of project management or organizational management or whatnot. I'm ending the poll now, and I'd like to start getting your opinion. Let's see the results. Almost half extension 2020, better at the end. Around 40% no, it will be much better, and only 13%, alhamdulillah, we have a very good morale, high morale audience think it will be worse. So Dr. Mohammad Askar, let's start with you, please. What's your insights for 2021? You need to unmute yourself, please.
So how long a time do I have?
as much as you like, my dear.
Okay, so yes, I am optimistic on the performance of project managers of 2021, but if we talk about the perspective of the global economy, I am afraid it will take more time to recover from the pandemic. What happened was not an easy thing. It was very unusual. But for project managers, yes, I hope we will take responsibility as project managers community, and especially given this pressure and the difficult consequences that we are realizing.
So if we go by your selection before about portfolio management, if our sponsors did very good portfolio management, then there will be a lot of optimization projects. Maybe we need to lower our expenditure. Maybe we need to enhance our efficiency, do more with the same resources to help us sustain and recover. And if they are successful at this, we will need much more project managers to manage all these and make them happen, walk the talk. Okay, so I'm trying to be positive with you. We are yani, it takes two to tango, Dr. Muhammad. Okay,
Yes.
Habib. So now, Habib, now to Behice. What do you think in 2021?
I also want to be optimistic, and I want to base my optimism on the learning muscles of humans as a whole. For sure, as the human civilization, we have learned a lot in 2020, and we will build on top of it for 2021 to find better ways to solve in better manners. This is in nature of humanity. So I want to base my optimism on this natural ability of people. And also in 2021, I also believe that yet there will be more other new ways to solve problems and to solve the difficulties that been coming with 2020, and also there will be new problems in 2021 as well. However, getting adapted to coping with change will be the most important muscle that we are going to all use in 2021.
Excellent. So even if we have more waves and more challenges, you believe we are more ready to face them. Okay, yes. At least we overcome the first shock, the first wave. Yeah. Okay, and we still on our feet. So inshallah, we will do even better in 2021. Yeah. Cannot agree more. Now, Mustafa, what about 2021?
So I'm also optimistic, but I call myself as an active optimist. So if you do not, if you are not trying to get out of your comfort zone, if you not do something to change or to adapt, I call it a passive optimism. So I'm not going to be one of them. I will be an active optimist. And regarding with our profession, management profession, I've been PMP since 2006. And when I look back at the history of our profession, I see three major changes in our profession. One, stakeholder management was introduced. Secondly, talent triangle has been introduced. And finally, agility was one of the topics that we discussed as in our profession. And in the coming year, I believe will be the years of benefit realization and strategy implementation for our profession.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, my dear. And Amin, okay, we are concluding this session with you. Afterwards, there might be a couple of questions that we will take. So tell us about your insights for 2021, please.
Yes, before I just want to say that actually, thank you very much for the insight. 2020 has showed us that actually what we thought was important is actually not important. What is really important is health, family, and friendship. And IPMA is a large family. Now to the project management profession. I see for 2021, that's why I'm very positive, six elements. The first is that, as Mustafa already mentioned, projects are already a routine because that's how we can adapt very quickly. But this will be intensifying. Already now in society, 50% in many organizations, people work at the same time in operations and in projects. The second point is the agility in project management. We need to be nimble and to become critical in a VUCA world. Hybrid models are actually more and more coming up, combining classical waterfall approaches with an agile approach. Need to focus on people. Behice mentioned that. Do not leave them alone. in their home office, we need to motivate them and relieve their fears and stress they could fear. That's how they, as Saadi already mentioned, we will actually make them find the solution. The virtualization of project management, we are already very much into the management of virtual teams. Self-organization, virtual teamwork, and more autonomy. This is something that was also very much analyzed on the research conference this year by IPMA. And last but not least, because this is very often in everybody's mouth as well, artificial intelligence will support, but it will never substitute project management and project managers. That's it.
Okay, thank you for concluding on AI, because lots of people speak about AI as if it is the savior. Now I have an idea of my own. AI, I learned, actually, I studied in the university like around 25, 30 years back, computer and communication and engineering. And we learned about AI back then. And we implemented certain aspects, okay? The learning software or experience or whatnot, they will never be humans. They will never have a soul. They will never replace us. They can replace routines. So they will have the experience that we will allow them to have or insert in them. So if you have a vicious programmer or owner of AI, then the AI will be a bad AI. And if you have a good one, it's going to be a good one. This is a much larger topic to speak about. If AI is that much spread all over, why didn't it resolve the first pandemic? And why didn't it prevent the second pandemic? And why are 70% of strategies or projects failing? And why not? Yes, the technology is advancing. The technology will be helpful. But I don't believe technology will be able ever to steer our world. It's not like the Terminator movie or whatnot. Now, I have a question specifically addressed by my friend Nawaf Al-Ahmadi from Saudi to Dr. Muhammad. He's saying, thank you for such informative panel discussion. His question, Dr. Muhammad, assuming that COVID-19 difficult times already passed, but with so many lessons learned, reflecting on 2020, how this would affect the project's financing in the near future? Will it be wiser and attentive, and why?
The connection got disconnected. Is the question for me?
The question for you again. He's saying, reflecting on 2020, how would this affect the project's financing in the near future? Whatever we learned from COVID-19, okay? Will it be wiser and attentive, and why?
If I understand the question correctly, with such a stress and struggle in 2020, definitely project managers or sponsors, let me say, need to be or have to be wiser to survive in 2021. I'm not sure if that was the question. So definitely that would make more pressure on leaders and decision makers, and we have to put into consideration the financial reflections from 2020. Here in Kuwait, if you open the newspapers, it's always the headlines about the financial situation, what will happen in 2021. There is real anxiety about that thing. Even the topic of will we get the salary next month is, for the first time in my lifetime at least, is being repeated in the newspapers. So financial crises is always around, and people are anxious about that. At least let me reflect from my nation. We are still relying on producing oil, so still we don't have diversification. So yes, we need to invest in diverse industries to survive in 2021.
Okay. So, my dear panelists, it has been a real joy to close the year with the four of you and with our participants. Any one of you has a last thing to say before we close our session tonight? Would you like Behice to say something?
Well,
I think we...
I would like to wish a very prosperous and joyful new year for 2021, full of new learnings, especially in project management practices for all of us.
Thank you. I wish the same for all as well. And Dr. Muhammad, Askar, any last thing you like to share with us?
Thank you so much for making this webinar happen and all the effort you have made the whole year. And I wish advisors and the community of advisors, the clients, the customers, the audience, all the best in 2021. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Habibi. Thank you, my dear. Amin, any last words?
Yes, please all stay healthy and be positive, as we saw earlier with this full glass, and also happy projects.
Thank you. Mustafa.
Adding on top of our best wishes, I will also invite our attendees to be optimistic but active optimists.
I love this active optimist. Okay, we need to do a session on how to be an active optimist in the future. Now, by this, I'd like to thank you all for staying with us so late. It has been my pleasure. It has been a very tough year, but a very productive year. I'm very happy we established this webinar series. We did not yet finalize our plans for 2021. We will resume. It will not be weekly, because believe me, weekly is a lot of effort. Okay, on our side, we will continue probably on a monthly basis, and we will announce in January the plan for 2021, inshallah. So wait to hear from us soon. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the 40 plus speakers who worked with us in 2020. Thank you for the thousands of participants from all over the world. It has been a joyful thing that made our year. And by this, I'd like to wish you all a safe, healthy, and happier, inshallah, 2021. Until we meet, stay safe. And thank you.
Thank you, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.